There we go. And we're live. How's everybody doing? I know it's not usual for us to do another stream the day right after the previous one, but let's just say that there's a lot going down right now that, well, you're going to want to hear about.
In other words, we want shekels, so we're doing more episodes.
Probably.
Hey, that's the second time it went under the radar.
Don't push your luck because my channel, it'll probably get my channel demonetized, but I don't put ads on my content anyway, so really nobody will notice a difference. But those of you who want to participate in the chat through super chats and participate in the stream yourselves will definitely notice. So if you want to interrupt us for any reason and get us to address and basically make us dance as puppets to your strings, just drop a donation into super chats and we'll be more than happy to do whatever it is that you wish.
Translation: give us your shekels, Goyim.
Right now.
You want to kill
because we can just force you to give us shekels.
Well,
Don't worry.
I mean, I have Jewish ancestry. I'm ethnically Jewish, so yes, I can't just call upon the hive mind to get people to give me shekels. That's how that works, right? I mean, the hive mind didn't come with an instruction manual. I'm a future post-human, so I'm my own race. Your race is going to be Fox.
Sure, whatever.
Started streaming 77 seconds ago. YouTube doesn't even know what a minute is.
Nope. Well, they're trying.
You know what'd be stupid?
What?
If I did a super chat, and it's just so I could interrupt you.
Just so you could give us money.
Yeah.
You'd essentially, yeah, pretty much. And,
that'd be so dumb.
All right, so quick question: how do we, or how do I change the options on the chat so that people can't spam? I used to have that, but for some reason it went away. I don't know if it's like YouTube changed an option or something, because Logan Looker, you are being obnoxious.
You see, me being the streamer that I am, I have no fucking clue. And I should learn how to.
Can you give me a wrench?
He already... Alright, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... Yeah, that's 6 WDs.
And I'm pretty sure...
DWDs.
And people were speculating in our Discord chat what DWD stood for. And I think the best option, especially given the recent drama, is that DWD stands for Daps Will Die, as in Mr. Dapperton will die.
Give me a wrench, I'll ban him.
I don't know how.
My theory is dumbass wheel drive. That's just my theory on that.
How do I do that?
What do you mean? Just assign me as a moderator in the chat. I can ban him.
I don't know how to do that.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I know.
This is
Wait,
Esso, you're basically Hopaloo when he tries to talk to me about how to use Photoshop.
Yeah, those dots on the side of our icons in the chat. Just go to mine and give me a click on that. Assign me as a moderator or a manager of your channel, whatever the fuck it says.
All right. Well, I'll have to.
Oh, I don't think I'm a moderator.
You have to give me a minute here, since I got to do this all on my phone. But anyways, we should actually start doing, while we're doing this, so you can actually start talking about our first topic. Our first topic being California is going to tax, drumroll please, water.
Oh.
Fucking water, really? I mean, they already, I mean, the mainstream media myth is that water has been made scarce by recent droughts. Which, I mean, there's a bit of truth to that, but however, the lie by omission is that, you know, it's usually a dry state, especially in the southern part, you know, outside of Los Angeles, northeast of Los Angeles, it's always pretty dry there. They have what do they call it? Death Valley, the Mojave Desert.
Yeah.
Mojave Desert, yeah.
So I mean, there's generally a scarce amount of water, but for the longest time they've always managed, and the price of water has always been pretty low. So why is it that the price of water and has been getting increasingly scarce? So if you go through the history of laws of legislation in California regarding the regulation of resources, that's one thing you'll find is a lot of taxes on, not necessarily taxes on water, but regulations on the amount that can be used, the control of who can distribute it, like tap water. So water has become kind of expensive in California in recent years as a result of this. So, and now they're taxing it. I can't really get past the idea that statism is so bad that they can make water become scarce and people still trust them to manage anything else.
The government's ability to inexplicably make things that are abundant scarce is so well known and is such a common phenomenon that Milton Friedman in the 80s made the remark that if you gave the government control of the Sahara Desert, within 5 years you'd have a shortage of sand.
How do you do that? Water is the most abundant resource on Earth, and California has managed to create a shortage artificially.
I actually have some insights into how they pulled this off. So there was a big almond farming industry in California, which shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. However, which is largely subsidized by the state of California's Department of Agriculture, who gives them incentives, kickbacks, all sorts of things to basically encourage farmers to grow more almonds. But almonds require a lot of water. A lot. So basically, you're wondering where all their water is going? It's to grow the stuff that goes into the version of the Hershey's bars that no one ever eats because nobody likes almonds in their freaking Hershey's bars. Dumbass.
You know that story is a really good argument against Keynesian stimulus if you really think about it. Well, you don't even have to think about it.
Keynesian stimulus is a good argument against Keynesian stimulus because Keynesians also argue that the government should try and manage the deficit. So, I mean, their economic ideas contradict one another.
So, yeah, pretty much. It's not a very, they haven't really thought their ideas through very well. Or maybe they have, and we exist in the worst possible timeline.
Well, no, they haven't, because if they did, they wouldn't be Keynesians.
Considering that the existence of Fortnite, I'm pretty sure we do live in the worst possible timeline.
Fair enough.
There should be a mass collab debunking Keynesianism. It shouldn't be.
I was thinking about doing a video debunking Keynesianism from a Keynesian perspective. I thought that would be very interesting because I've looked through a lot of their arguments and I've realized, like, on their jobs program in relation to how they think that banks and loans should be managed, I realized that just their general ideas for managing aggregate demand particularly contradict one another.
By the way, Zachary Colley donates $5. Suddenly I am rethinking my appreciation for almond milk as an occasional drink.
I got to be completely honest, there was a time where, I liked it. It was like vanilla almond milk. But I mean, it was the vanilla part that I thought was pretty good.
Almond milk? Like, do they fucking milk almonds with, like, from their udders? Like, what?
I don't know.
Essentially, you just take some of the juices out of it that naturally exist, and then
like
you.
A cow. Okay.
Yeah, essentially, but you get a needle instead of a freaking.
But I haven't been able to find vanilla milk without the almonds. But I mean, if I could, I'd probably just drink it without the almonds. So
I'm gonna have to draw.
I tried chocolate almond milk once. It's really good, but it's at the same time it's really rich, so you get tired of it fast.
So a thick Hershey's almond bar as a drink.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I haven't drank it in like 4 to 5 years. So
I've never had it.
Me neither.
I know my brother drank it.
it's something that's never really occurred to me, but yeah, I mean,
Can you buy?
if you enjoy almond products, almond butter, almond milk, almond whatever, as long as you're not ingesting soy, I think you'll be fine.
But
The
yeah,
difficulty is that, well, California, for some reason, is growing almonds that require a crap ton of water. I mean, that stuff should be grown in the South Pacific Asia, where you can't get rid of water fast enough.
oh, some people in the chat are saying soy. No, the kind that I used to drink wasn't soy milk, man. I knew even back then that that's like even before the soy boy meme, like we're talking 2014, 2015. I knew. I was like, yeah, this is the stuff that old ladies use in response to hitting menopause. So I'm pretty sure that I don't want to be drinking this.
That's probably a smart idea. But yeah, the what's it called? Water crisis. I mean, only the state can really muck things up so badly that they need to freaking tax water to discourage people from drinking it.
Yeah, Milton Friedman's not kidding. I'm pretty sure that if the state did like start commodifying a certain area of desert, there wouldn't be sand.
Definitely.
I mean, look what happens when the governments in Africa try and nationalize certain areas of land. Oh well, they try and preserve some of the rainforests. Oh well, becomes a desert within like a decade. So,
well, gee, I wonder what happens.
Need to provide the wood to the subsidized industries and corporations we have now.
I mean, what the government is just literal fucking poison. Like, I can't fathom why anyone would support it doing anything at this point.
Well, you have two groups of people. You have morons, and then you have the evil people. The morons are going to be the useful idiots, the protesters who will go out and say like, "Oh, we need the government to stop evil industrialists and evil corporations from destroying the environment." And then you have
the Californians aren't like rioting over tax on water. Like, look at the fucking French. They like riot over what a gas tax, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Well,
aren't they still protesting?
I think France actually has a significantly higher tax burden than Californians do.
Everyone who does have any common sense is leaving California. I mean, at this point, the people in California, I mean, the politicians could literally walk in their house, fuck their wife, and then tell them that their kid that they just created is theirs, and fucking
leave.
They would, yeah, and they would still the couple that the politician did that to would probably still support him.
Well, what happens? I think the more accurate way to describe that analogy is that the politician goes in there, rapes the wife, and then demands thank you from the couple, both of them.
The only person I can imagine wanting to be in California is Paradise. And that's
Probably.
about it.
He's probably from California.
Fucking defended California.
He not only
he's-
defended California, he tried to argue that Detroit is a symbol of economic prosperity. Modern Detroit, by the way, not like 50s Detroit.
Wow.
I mean, you've guys all seen that picture, right? Of
Detroit has one of the highest GDPs in the country. They're clearly better, guys.
I'm pretty sure you've all seen this meme comparing Hiroshima and Detroit. Hiroshima, Detroit, 1945. Hiroshima and Detroit, 2013. It's amazing what a difference in simple government policy can do to a city.
Yeah,
that's propaganda.
I'm pretty sure that you look at Detroit as having a high GDP. That has to be the moment. If it wasn't, the person who created the GDP metric themselves arguing that GDP shouldn't be used as a measurement for economic growth, I think that would have to be the point where you realize GDP is not a figure you can use for measuring economic growth.
GDP
It's literally just spending. With government intervention, you will have to increase more spending, both by the government and by consumers, because you've made it harder to create or produce resources because it's more expensive.
The fact that we have any the fact that we have any GDP growth at all, I think, can largely be targeted to increases in government spending. Because right now, government spending accounts for roughly 25% of U.S. GDP. In Democrat enclaves like Detroit, I'm sure it's like 30 to 35%. Yeah, at least.
I was on Wikipedia like a couple weeks ago looking at GDP just to see like what they have to say, and I'm pretty sure you can also find the quote that SO was talking about on the Wikipedia page. Even the Wikipedia page, the one to misrepresent the Gamergate cause, admits, yeah, you should be careful how you use GDP.
Well, people are gonna wonder, like, what's a more accurate figure? Is GNP any better since it does not count government spending?
Well, if it accounts for spending in any way, it doesn't matter.
Well, I haven't taken
because there is no growth. There can be copious amounts of spending, but that doesn't mean that there's growth.
Oh, speaking of
that's a classic case. I'm sorry, you can keep going.
I was gonna say, speaking of California, funny thing that I learned in my class the other day, because I'm going to become an English teacher. One of the facts that my professor brought up was how it was a couple years before Obama left office, and he signed a bill which would give, I'm pretty sure, each student in California an iPad, and the reason was because for like students, because their test scores were just so bad, and they thought, okay, maybe if we spend more money on resources, it would help. Guess what? Didn't do anything. In some cases, scores were slashed in half. Yeah. If government spending, if that says anything, government spending doesn't help the problem.
That's weird. I wonder why.
What were we talking about? Oh,
yeah. I do know why.
California running out of water, even though the fact that they're right next to an ocean.
I know that there's something economically wrong with that, but I can't pinpoint why.
I accidentally just said a water on tax.
Economically wrong with what? Sorry, there's a bunch of people talking over each other. I can't follow what's going on.
The iPad thing. How the state of... Which one was it? The state of... Oh, alright. Yeah, the state of California basically gave every student an iPad. No, I can't see what's wrong with that at all economically.
Obama signed a bill that gave them, apparently, all an iPad. But I'm not too entirely sure about it. Don't quote me on it. You can probably find it. I just don't remember what it's called. It's not going down.
Well, they're just trying to throw money at a problem, and then they're hoping it sticks. That they're just a handful of government spending initiatives away from utopia. The United States spends
$64 billion per year on education.
I mean, just like how much per student? Like something $30,000 a year, or roughly, per student. And what do they have to show for it? They're like 23rd. I'm just getting these numbers off the top of my head. 23rd in math, 31st last in science,
and 33 in reading.
And it's
last time I checked.
Yeah, and yeah, they're trying to just throw some more money at the problem, and they're just hoping it works.
It's like when they threw money at
people are saying the
housing.
Died.
It's like when they.
Wait, what are people saying?
No, it's not dead.
That's weird because I'm seeing
it's still going.
It's still it's lagging right now for me.
That's not good.
Yeah, there it goes.
All right. Yeah, that's okay.
It's not lagging for any of us, so.
I mean, that's good. But yeah.
Basically, I got interrupted. I don't know what I was talking about now. Wait 1 sec.
Yeah, it's why
You
we
guys just
shouldn't
keep
interrupt
talking.
each other.
Oh, it's like with the Community Reinvestment Act. If when the government throws money at something, the thing it throws money at ends up getting worse by a huge margin.
Well, yeah, the reason why is because governments don't have any incentives to economize. So, I mean, they just take the funding and essentially stuff their pockets with it.
It also gives the words not coming to my head. The recipients of the stimulus, it also gives them less of an incentive to economize because now you've created a sense of artificial dependence. You know, if we don't do well economically, the government will just bail us out.
That's the moral hazard of the state, and that's partially the reason why we had the 2008 financial crash in general. You had Fannie and Freddie guaranteeing subprime mortgages, which is to say mortgages that had no hope of being paid back, and more importantly, because they're a government-sponsored enterprise, there was no risk to them.
There are a bunch of people in chat who are saying that the stream is just completely stopped.
Yeah, I'm seeing it too. And I don't know what's... I don't know
I'm
what's-
gonna turn on my
that is.
VPN real quick.
I mean, I have my
sorry, what the heck?
VPN on, so...
I got my VPN on as well.
I forgot to.
So is everything fine now? I actually can't tell.
I don't know.
Everything's fine for us, so there's no reason in the world why it should be.
Alright, turning on my VPN kicked me from the call momentarily.
Okay. Yeah, so I think we'll just continue.
Yeah.
So yeah, government makes things more scarce for completely arbitrary reasons.
Government man bad.
Well, that's pretty much the only thing it can do, because it exists to redistribute what is taken. And if you take something, you necessarily dwindle a part of a supply. And obviously, we know that the government is terrible at economic calculation, so most of those resources get wasted and not actually used for the intended purpose that the economy demands them for. So,
Well, it's not just that, but it's that there is fewer supply which exists in the private sector, and it requires more to actually have private actors meet their ends. So, I mean, you get a problem there as well from that. What's going on?
Absolutely nothing right now. I don't know. Should we move on to
taking
the
mental notes. I haven't talked about economics in a long time. It's been more philosophy and individualism.
Should we move on to the next topic?
Yeah, I thought we were
Sure.
doing that.
All right. So, well, there's new things going on. Like we were just talking about this after the last stream ended, and it was partially the reason why we decided to do one today. And that is, I'm sure you're all familiar with the shooting in Houston, Texas, the 4 to 5 police officers.
Yeah.
I think I heard something about it.
Yeah, so what happened is that there was a drug raid, an arrest warrant being served on 2 suspected drug dealers selling black tar heroin. The police decided to do a SWAT raid, and because the gunmen were armed, they ended up hitting 4 police officers. One ended up actually getting hurt in the leg, but for unspecified reasons that weren't related to gunfire. But he's counted as an injury, so you'll hear headlines like 5 officers injured. But anyways, 4 cops got shot, and the 2 suspected drug dealers were shot and killed.
Oh gee, I wonder who's unjustified and justified in this situation.
Well, you're going to hear headlines all the time about how these hero cops stop evil drug dealers, even though when you really break it down, you have a situation where two vendors are selling a product that people want to buy voluntarily. They're doing nothing wrong.
Yeah, they didn't do anything. If you think that like I'm just trying to think of an analogy. If you think that cops cracking down, if you thought that those store owners during any riot in the U.S. defending their store with arms, you think that those people are justified. But if you think that the cops raiding this home and those people trying to defend their business and their home, if you think that's unjustified, then you're part of the problem.
This headline can be rewritten in a way that will completely completely change the context of what happened, which is to say, like, two store owners shot killed by a swarm of armed violent criminals.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what happened here.
Violent criminals. They were defending themselves.
No, the cops are the violent criminals.
Oh. Okay. No, I didn't hear that part. Yeah, the cops are the violent criminals here because they initiated force against people who were doing nothing wrong.
Oh, but they're not criminals, you see. They're just the dogs of the state, and the state has redefined the word criminal to basically just mean anyone that goes against them, the heretics.
Yeah, we've defined criminal as anyone who goes against what we do and our interests. Therefore, we're right no matter what.
Our magic piece of paper says that they're okay in doing what you would be arrested for doing if you tried it.
Classic
shot by water-soluble
Whoa.
officers.
Yeah, don't talk over me. Classic presupposition apologetics.
That was kind of funny.
You were going to say something, Azer?
Yeah, I was saying 2 storemen shot by water-soluble SWAT officers. SWAT officer crackers or something.
But yeah, what's more interesting about this story, and I mean, there's been some speculation about it, but I haven't really looked into it, so I'm not going to say anything about the intentions or whether or not the shooting was a hoax. But what we do know is that the president of the Houston Police Officers Union gave an interesting press conference following the police shooting.
Do you have the audio?
I thought one of you guys did, because I thought this is what we were going to talk about.
Oof, I don't have it.
I don't have it either. Can you pull it up, so we'll just keep talking about it until you have it ready.
I posted it in the Kool Capitalist Kidz chat.
Also, police officers, there's unions for that.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on, I think I'll
That
get the
really just
audio.
goes to show that that's living proof that the state has monopolized unions to the point where what unions stood against are now unions.
Well, what do you
Are
mean
now
by,
today's unions.
Well, what do you mean by what unions stood against?
Hey,
Well, unions back then they were mutual aid.
I got the audio clip.
Well, back when most unions started, they were mutual aid societies that were in constant war with the state because certain businesses didn't like them. And those businesses could just go to the government and lobby for the government to fight those unions. So essentially, so basically the government just decided to monopolize unions, and now we're at the situation where we're at now.
Where you have public sector unions who not only live as parasites off of the taxpayer's dime. I mean, it'd be one thing if they just were paid to dig ditches and then fill them up again, like what happened in the Great Depression, where they're already parasites, but instead they're being paid money to be economically anti-productive. Their activity costs people money. It costs them time. It costs the economy resources. And because they're in a union...
Okay, well, the point that we were getting to is basically the president of this police union came out and claimed that they were going to be hunting down people who made posts that were critical of police on social media.
Are
Oh,
you serious?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can. Did you find? Did you get? Do you have the clip ready?
Oh yeah. Hold on.
this is another thing we need OBS for because you can actually record audio.
Yeah.
People are suggesting it might be one of us that has a crappy connection, and yeah, there's only one person here who wasn't here yesterday.
I'm hardwired. I have good fucking connection. I'm telling you, it's not me.
My connection's working like a charm, so.
Oh, by the way, the audio clip.
Yeah. Wrong clip. We're not doing a Florida man story yet.
Okay, I don't have it. Hold on.
Florida man.
Okay,
Florida
it
man on drugs
is-
kills imaginary friend, turns himself in.
Oh, I think I found it. Hold on. I think this is it.
All right.
There's
I
two
think-
things
Make
wrong
sure
with
to
that
turn your
story.
audio up because you are
Yeah.
quiet.
I think it's just YouTube servers, honestly, because there's a bunch of people saying they're okay, and then there's people who are saying they aren't. It sounds like a personal problem.
Okay,
might
now
be.
the audio on my phone's acting up. Damn. Okay, I don't have the audio. My phone's doing phone.
All right. So SO, how about you pick up the clip and we'll just respond to what the guy actually said, which is that I mentioned this earlier that people, especially conservatives, are going to be outraged, and there's going to be stories about how dangerous it is to be a cop, how dangerous it is to be a violent criminal felon, or an unconvicted criminal felon, I should say.
Well, it is dangerous, but it's not something you would. It's not. They're not. It's not the type of job you would want.
Although I was thinking about it the other day, and I realized that, according to our legal system, cops are not people.
What?
Cops are not, according to our, I'm not making this argument myself, but according to our legal system, the way that cops are treated, cops are not people, because they are never held accountable for their actions. Personhood requires a demonstration of self-ownership, and it requires moral agency. And moral agency means that you are responsible for your actions. The fact that cops continually get away with constantly shooting people, with constantly using excessive force, and they're able to just walk away scot-free from all of that, very strongly implies that the legal system considers them to be as responsible for their actions as a boulder is responsible for rolling onto your car. In a sense, the legal system does not believe cops are people.
Interesting. I will add that to my mental notes.
When you were saying earlier that that criminal was defined whatever they want it to be.
Okay,
So
can one,
they've
can
actually-
one of you guys play the clip, because I'm trying to play it, but yeah, I can't while I'm wearing these headphones. There's some loud surround sound in the background, and on top of that, everybody's talking right now, so...
Wait 1 sec, let me find it.
I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to click away from Hangouts.
I'm in the game.
Alright, I have a... Alright, so what's it called? I'm just gonna search it.
Just scroll up, you'll find it very soon.
It should be
Oh,
one of the
the-
It should be the first link when you open it up, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is.
Right, well, anyways,
Oh.
what the guy actually said is that, well, Esso already said it, that they not only gonna watch you on social media and they already know who you are on social media. You people who criticize the cops, you people who question them, who think that they're using excessive force, who
How dare you question police?
how dare you try to hold so-called public servants accountable, you heathen. And you can hear it in his tone, like the guy is angry, he's pissed off, he's clearly threatening. I don't know if he's actually bluffing or not, or if he actually is pissed off and actually accidentally released the fact that he knows, or he has doxes on anyone who's even skeptical of police. I don't know if that's just in Houston or in the state of Texas or even just around the country, but as you can imagine, that's a very terrifying thought that they might know who you are. And if the United States or even just a city or state government decides that, yeah, you know what, we're not going to give lip service to the First Amendment free speech anymore, that they can just arrest you for something that you already said.
They can't violate your freedom of speech because they're not people.
I mean, cops don't have freedom of speech because they aren't people. I mean, I think it should be a meme now that cops are not people.
Just like robots.
Yeah, according to the law, they aren't. So.
In before taken out of context.
Oh, people are going to take this incredibly out of context, but I am perfectly okay with that. Because I just want to see like all the cop salt, all the my thin blue line.
Oh man, I remember.
Well, I mean, if you really think that they're people, then act like it. Make sure that they're held responsible for.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to get home to your family? How about you stop prohibiting peaceful people from getting to their families?
Yeah, because here's the interesting thing about that. If you're not, well, the only reason that's even that standard can even exist is because of the monopoly on arbitration, arbitrarily holding others at different standards from what is demonstrably provable. Because if you didn't have agency without a state, that would mean anyone could do whatever they wanted, and you wouldn't be able to have any defense against it.
Mm-hmm. Also, another thought I had, you can see guides online of how to deal with police officers, and I was watching those before. It's like if you're at a traffic stop, what you do is you roll down your window a little bit, you put your hands on the top of the steering wheel, you speak slowly and calmly, and you inform the police officer what you are doing at all times. Like if you have to reach over to open your glove compartment, you inform them that that's what you're doing. If you have a gun in your car, you inform them of that and where it is. And it's like, that's kind of what you're supposed to do when you're encountering a vicious wild animal. I mean, we've already established that according to the law, they aren't people, but in the same way that you're supposed to, in order to prevent yourself from being killed by a grizzly bear, you lay down and play dead. In order to prevent yourself from being shot by a cop, you have to, 1, stay on 2 feet at all times to avoid being mistaken for a dog, and 2, keep your hands on the top of the steering wheel.
Or if you're in a truck,
Stop dehumanizing them, filthy.
So yeah, they're animals. They're literally animals.
Dissolving a monopoly on arbitration doesn't mean that arbitration will never exist anymore.
No, to clarify, I mean, they are people, it's just according to the government they aren't, so.
Pretty much. And this is obviously not something that we want to have happen. I mean, there's going to have to be some rules enforcement that's in some form. It's just that as long as the state has this monopoly on arbitration, as long as they're the ones that get to decide arbitrarily what is right or wrong through their magical pieces of paper called legislation, we're always going to have individuals and organizations where, I mean, you've all seen the story of the cop who tells a bunch of people in New Haven, Connecticut that, you know, he gets paid overtime for shooting people. So
yeah, they have an economic incentive to kill people because then they get paid overtime.
And more importantly, because it's not their money, the state doesn't care where it goes. It's the third-party payer problem. Anyone can look this up. If you're receiving money if you're a third party to someone else's money to try to pay for something, you don't care about the quality and you don't care about the cost. So suffice to say, we end up with assholes like Philip Brailsford being allowed into the force.
You know what? I really have to go.
Well, alright, see ya.
Alright. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty straightforward, though. The media and make no mistake, this is essentially how they're going to start treating counter economists a few months down the road, or just whenever the market crashes in general. You're going to anybody who tries to trade around the strait's going to be a terrorist, going to be a violent criminal, going to be they're going to go. I mean, they're already going full retard with their propaganda as is, trying to claim that the state can track down cryptocurrency, stuff like that.
I was about to say that.
Jim Jesus.
We don't bring that name up here.
No.
As far as we're
Jim
concerned,
Jesus.
him and Daniel Bohr are best friends. They're untouchables.
No, it's not that they're untouchables, it's just I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
They're a
But
bunch
yeah.
of faggots.
But yeah, according to the law, cops aren't people, and stay away from the Houston Police Department because chances are they're going to be pretty hyped up.
I'm glad I don't live there.
Yeah, but just in general, if you're going to be in Texas, be very careful around cops because they tend to be pretty anal there in general. Not as bad as it is in Arizona. What's the name of that one county that just has the cops that are just absolutely psychotic?
It's the one, Mesa, Arizona. That's whatever county Mesa is in. That's where all these stories come out of.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as bad as there because at that point, that's like actually a war zone. But yeah, just do your best, try to stay safe, and for God's sakes, do heed the advice of people who are trying to save your life from in cop encounters. Because you can't guarantee your safety.
Yeah,
Anyways,
stay away from cops just as much as possible.
yeah, pretty much. And also, one other thing, try to avoid calling the cops when you have a problem because they're just going to end up making it worse.
Oh no, they're usually too slow.
Usually
Even
too
though I
slow,
don't-
yeah, but it's better to just like take that kind of stuff into your own hands. If you have a dispute with someone, figure out a way to resolve it yourself. If you're in an accident, just share your vehicle information, or not your vehicle information, your insurance information, and move on. This kind of thing, when they get involved, it only makes things worse. Constantly.
All right, so we've gone on with this long enough. Should we talk about the next story that we have? Because we have
Yeah.
a couple of them. We have two more here.
All right, let's go.
Let's go.
All right, so Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. No, I first, before I start, you'd think that I would have made a couple of videos, but I've only really made one. I've made a few where I've mentioned her, but I've only made one about her. And that's because I've been incredibly suspicious about, like, just how dumb she is, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it. Because, yeah, I think that it's really strange how this person just came out of nowhere, is this fucking dumb, and everyone, like, the media is presenting it like, oh, conservatives are so scared of her, and that's all that Fox News, the Daily Wire, and all these controlled outlets, that's all they ever talk about is Cortez, every little thing that she does, and the influence she's gained. It's very strange. I think that that's basically, I've been suspecting from the beginning that she's an actor, and recently I've been proven at least partially right, like with the three chambers of government, and then in her campaign she's demonstrated that she understands what the three branches of government are, and she structured a campaign strategy around utilizing them. And recently she argued the Green New Deal is like World War II, and I cannot be expected to believe that there's a leftist out there, especially one like Cortez, who doesn't know what the World War II existed, you know, with the constant invoking of Godwin's law. So with that and the three chambers of government, I've been led to believe that she is an actor, which has been sent forward by the Democratic Party in order to try and scare people back into the political system. And I think that further evidence of this is based on the fact that, she hasn't really done anything that radical since she's been in office. Like, she hasn't even proposed anything. In fact, she's sort of backtracked quite a bit after she got elected. So, politician lying, that's a big shock. No, but, I mean, she's not saying anything different from any other progressive, quote-unquote, politician. So, at this point, I think she's an actor. So I'm not giving her any time of day, except for in rare occasions like this, where I'm not responding to her, but an idea that she's presenting. And here, we have probably one of the most terrifying things that she's presented, which people are starting to echo, and I feel like I just have to say something about this. So she got into a Twitter feud with Washington Post, a journalist from the Washington Post, and the Washington Post basically called her on her shit, which, I mean, that's pretty incredible. But yeah, so essentially they were just questioning her. They had doubts about how much, of her ideas could be afforded. And what she responded with was to say that media fact checkers spend too much time analyzing the factuality of her claims, factuality in her terms, and instead they need to analyze the morality of her claims. Basically, you can be moral without being factual, as in you can advocate for outright lies and base your idea of society on things you know are not true and still be a morally righteous person. That's not how that works.
I mean, is that even possible? I mean,
No.
we can indulge her by saying, like, yeah, let's examine your own ideas on moral grounds. You want the state involved in this, you want the state involved in that, you want the state involved in everything, so your ideas are completely immoral. Screw you.
Well, those things aren't mutually exclusive, so, like, so what's the point of even bringing that up? It doesn't make sense.
I think she's going to try to make an appeal to emotions argument. It's very common for people of that ilk, for progressives, to try to do that. They like to deflect away from facts, reason, and logic as much as possible. And because they don't have any concrete sets of morals or ethics, they're just saying, like, examine it morally is just a way of saying examine it based on how you feel about it. How do you feel? How does this make you feel?
It's very clear that she or whoever wrote her tweets for her, they don't understand what morality is, or they don't understand what ethics are. They clearly think that those are just synonyms for feelings, and they're not.
That's actually terrifying if they think that morality is a substitute for feelings.
Morality is technically subjective anyway, so it makes even less sense.
Well, morality is just the application of ethics, and ethics are universal and objective. So, yeah. I mean, you're going to try to...
If you're ethical, you can have a moral system which is not demonstrably objective, but no, morals are not necessarily objective, subjective. I mean, I think that's a bit of a flawed characterization.
Whereas,
at least I'm moral proposes 70% tax on the rich.
And that's the thing here. That's basically the point she's trying to get at. I'm moral, even though, I mean, just by saying this, I mean, not even getting into the ethics of actually what she's proposing, the mass theft, the expansion of the state, what effects that'll have on society. No, she's saying just what the actual discussion of these, like the factual implications of what these economic positions will do to the world. That is to be disregarded, and we're to just use feelings.
I mean,
Okay,
can I just feel my way out of a mortgage? Can I just
And
use my
no,
feelings to change the terms of any agreements that I make? I wrote a contract and suddenly it doesn't feel right, so I get to
and
do whatever I want.
as we pointed out earlier in the stream, what I'll say here is that government regulations have made water scarce in a state which is has an ocean right next to it. So you do not have the moral high ground if you're trying to claim, oh, I stand for the poor. I think that we should steal from people and give to these other people. No, 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 no. What you are proposing, you know exactly what's wrong with it. You can't refute it, and now you're arguing we should just ignore that and give in to the morality of it, which you seem to think is just a synonym for feelings. You do not have the moral high ground. You think that you're basically admitting at this point that you think people should starve to death, you think that there should be mass scarcity, and you think that all of this should be so you can feel morally righteous and grandstand. No, that's not a morally righteous thing to do. That's an evil thing to do.
Their entire system of morals and ethics, I think, comes entirely down to their not wanting to feel anxiety. They'll see some infomercial about, or some commercial about starving children in Africa. They'll feel some anxiety about that, and they'll, instead of actually doing something about it, they'll want to create the illusion of something in general being done about it, which is what taxation and these government quote-unquote solutions to these problems are. They're ways of preventing people from figuring out solutions to themselves. Solutions being either charity, good works, like actually going out and doing something about it, or, you know, moving on with your life and putting it out of sight and out of mind. That's a way of dealing with it. But no, they just have to figure out some way to be charitable with other people's money, which is not charity at all. It's naked theft, and the idea that people can feel generous and even moral because they do that it's demonic. Pope Benedict XVI actually referred to that as demonic. So
I care about these millions of people that I've never met in my life and will never meet.
Oh,
so how about
shit.
these...
Guys, there's some big fucking breaking news coming out. Usually we'll just ignore these for the next stream. But no, I think this is pretty urgent. We gotta talk about this.
Okay, what's going on?
Where is it?
It's in general in my Discord server. I'll link it in the Kapitalist Kidz group chat. Apparently, in Eugene, Oregon, Antifa planted a bunch of bombs at their police headquarters.
Oh shit.
Oh. Now
Damn.
I'm confused. I don't know how to feel about that.
I don't either. But yeah, no, I think this is important because they're starting to get nutty. And the reason they're doing this is in response to that one guy who was trying to pick up his kid and got shot because he pulled a gun on the cop. That, I think I'll agree that was murder. That the guy was just trying to pick up his kid. The cop tried to arrest him, so he pulled out his gun and in self-defense, and the cop shot him. Yeah, but posting bombs in response, that's where I'm starting to
Dude,
have
in
problems
Antifa,
with that.
Something
And,
about
like-
this seems very strange to me, especially
Yeah.
the timing.
This is very interesting. I don't necessarily have any information to suspect that this is a hoax yet, because I'm just seeing this now. Like I just saw this first now, but yeah, I'll definitely start looking into this. There's the guy's social media page, not Antifa, but the guy who pulled the gun on the cop and got shot. His social media page is still up, I think. So,
Oh wow. Didn't you say like that there was like some Antifa dude like quite a while back that like shot some dude in the face
what?
in Washington or something like that? You were
No, that was somebody
somewhere.
somebody going to a Milo event who shot an Antifa protester in the face. But yeah, this is heating up pretty quickly with Antifa, and yeah, I mean we've already demonstrated that Antifa, at least, it's been proven like that it is essentially a state organized. There are pockets of it which are state organized. It's kind of hard to speak specifically because, yeah, Antifa is a decentralized organization and everyone in it is anonymous. But yeah, Germany has funded Antifa, and there have been some Antifa members who have deep ties to the state in the U.S. So,
Go figure.
people are asking if the bombs went off.
No, it doesn't look like they did.
No. There
I
was
imagine
a
they did.
there was a basically a bomb squad called in and they defused them. They were live explosives though, so they would have gone off.
Not like that fake ass dude, like that fake ass bomb that dude tried to send to those like politicians.
Oh yeah, I
Not like
remember that. That was if only they weren't freaking hell.
Conservative ISIS supporter, like what the hell? Oh man, that was a mess.
But yeah, let's see.
I can't
Do we have
say I'm
any-
surprised.
Do we have another topic to talk about?
Yeah, that's so you guys must be freshly familiar with that video from GameStop
Yes.
that came out of the trans lady screaming, well, guy dressed as a woman screaming, "I'm Sir! You called me Sir! Me, He-Man!"
Yeah.
Yeah, so a story which sort of mirrors this happened recently at a used car lot of another person dressed up as a female
Well, it's not
going
used, sorry to interrupt. It's not a used car lot. It was an Alamo car rental.
Okay, well, same thing basically. And yeah, this person did sort of the same thing, but this one's even funnier. You gotta, can you play this?
Is it funnier because he's a ninja fadget?
No, it's funnier because of what he says at the end, which
I need to see
I
it.
think I might be able to open it on my phone, but I'll have to play it through my mic, so the audio won't be very good.
Okay, so earlier you guys were saying, well, that's what I was suggesting, that it might be my connection. And I'm starting to somewhat believe that now because I've been noticing throughout the stream as I'm playing this game, not only are my shots like not connecting to the people I'm shooting at, but I'm noticing a lot more corpse launches than usual. And that
yeah, you're
happens-
trying to scream while playing a game. Fucking.
All right, I got the video.
Well, I'm not
I
streaming.
don't know how this will sound, so
It's being fucking rude. She was real rude with her black ass, and she called me a hoe. She supposed to be at work, and y'all going viral, honey, on Facebook. You too. That bitch with no name.
Sir, I need you to get out.
So, and you call me a sir? I'm not a sir. I'm a ma'am. I'm a sir. I'm a ma'am.
Get out.
I'm a ma'am. you get him out? I'm a ma'am. I'm a ma'am. You being rude. Okay. I'm a ma'am. I'm a ma'am. My ID say female. He's being rude. Know your pronouns. Know your pronouns. Get out, please. Know your pronouns. You just wear them out. Know your pronouns. Know your pronouns, honey. Know your fucking pronouns. It's a world out here. It's a fucking world out here. Know your fucking pronouns. Stupid. Miss. Suck my dick, like you said, man.
I'm a man. Suck my dick.
One of those things is not like the other.
That's not the only thing I love about that clip. What I also love about that clip is how differently this place handled it. I think this is the right somebody like this. You don't indulge their delusion, or you do, whatever, but you just say, no, get out.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's what you're supposed to do. But yeah, that's a... You couldn't see the video, but yeah, that suffice to say, that's an abortion of nature. I don't know how such an abomination could be allowed to exist.
I'll go ahead and post a link to the video in the chat here.
Excellent.
So everyone can see it, though it's probably going to be everywhere in a few days. Probably by tomorrow, you'll get people like Mark Dice or whoever making videos about it.
Fucking Mark Dice.
Well, I mean, that creature is a perfect explanation of the nature of the N-word. You see, there are the creature in that video who said like, I'm a man. I'm a man. Yeah. There's black people. And then there's the N-words. There's Nigerians. There's niggers.
Ooh.
There's nidgers.
There's knickers. You know how it is.
And speaking of Mark Dice, at some point we need to go back and there was one segment he did like back in like 2012, 2011, earlier on. I remember because my dad is actually a big fan of his, and he was talking about transhumanism, and he's like, the transhumanism is just a plot to take over the world. I'm like, what the fuck?
What?
I mean,
not to take over the world. What?
I'm not gonna even try. But anyways, yeah, we should probably wrap things up.
Can we do a Florida man story?
Sure, do a headline.
Okay, my alt tab over. Now Discord has to load. Okay, let's see. Florida man. Let me find a juicy one. Oh wait, no, there's one that I really laughed at. One that was really amazing. Here's Florida man on drugs kills imaginary friend and turns himself in.
We've already done that one before. No, here's actually an interesting one, which is a Florida man story that doubles as a example of why statism sucks. Florida man spent 41 days in jail for attempting to clean the streets with Tide.
Why? Why?
I mean, come on, the man was doing his best, okay?
Yeah, I mean, that's about as good as someone in Florida could do.
Like, their roads are made out of laundry.
Probably. Yeah, well, anyways, we're gonna go. So, thank you for stopping by at the stream, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.